Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 20th of June, comes to you from London. And we're experiencing somewhat of a heat wave here, and markets are pretty quiet as a result. But we are still seeing some movement, and we'll look at that in a moment. But we start with the dollar index, looking stronger this morning, and so we are just again above the cloud, activating this new upside target to 99.50, which is about 2%. So we're seeing the dollar possibly coming off the floor here, although we're bearish in the medium term. We're bullish long and short term, and the euro just sinking lower as a result of that stronger dollar. Not quite activating this downside target of 109, which would be 2.2% downside, but we are just seeing that euro weakness. Japanese yen. The dollar is looking stronger here as well, but the real story in Forex this morning is the pound is sinking. And we've got the Governor of the Bank of England, Mark Carney, speaking at the moment at the Mansion House, and UK Chancellor as well. And the outlook for interest rates has been is now looking like US interest rates won't rise. So we're seeing that fall away in sterling quite dramatically there. Looking at the euro, we're seeing much the same thing. And against the Swiss franc, we're seeing again much the same thing. So sterling falling quite dramatically this morning, which is what we come to expect in a downtrend. And sterling, we're seeing here against the Swiss franc, for example, is bearish on all three fronts. Against the euro, bearish now on all three fronts. So that is just taking us to a bearish move. And against the Australian dollar, quite a sharp move down as well. Looking at the S&P 500, making a new high again last night, so 2,453. That's looking bullish. But the big story is that the Nasdaq is recovering. We're not quite taking out the high that we saw last week. We need to just move that a little bit higher. A move above 5,800 would really ensure that we're in recovery mode, coming back through the cloud. The Dow is actually looking bullish on all three time frames, another new high. So we're seeing significant upside here. The Russell 2000 not making a new high. But certainly still bullish on all three time frames. Looking at the S&P future, we see here that it's bullish on all three time frames, up very slightly, while the Nasdaq E-mini is up 0.25% in London this morning. So hopefully we will see the US market open higher on the Nasdaq, which would confirm the recovery. FTSE 100 up 1%, probably that move in sterling. Remember, that's strong for FTSE 100 companies that report mostly in international currencies and have high international exposure. FTSE 250 not up as strongly because the spread of companies there is less currency affected. And we're looking at the DAX. We're seeing that's looking bullish as well, up strongly. We talked about this 4% upside target yesterday. And the Nikkei 250 also 225 looking bullish as well. The Hang Seng just slightly bearish in the short term, but still quite strong in the medium and long term. And the Shanghai local market still needs to do work in the medium to long term. The Indian market trying to break through resistance here, but still looks amazingly strong on the medium and long term charts. The S&P 200 index in Australia just is looking a little bit like falling away again, just really in the doldrums most of this year. Still holding on to its long-term and medium-term bullish trends, and we are bullish at the moment, but looks like we're just falling away again. Brent crude, we were pretty bearish on Brent. The fact that we're below this low that we saw in May, we haven't gone below the intra-day low that we saw, and so we are just finding support around this 46.50 level, but we do have downside targets to 44, and of course the medium-term chart's looking pretty grim. So crude oil, we're still pretty bearish. WTI, much the same picture, of course, with a downside target of 41.60 there. That's 6% downside. US nat gas also bearish at about 290 on the chart there. So we're seeing just some big moves in softs this morning. Cocoa really falling away, bearish on all three charts, so that's quite significant as well. Going straight to gold. Gold is up a little bit this morning, but it is still bearish in the short term. Key thing is, can we hold these longer term trends? But so we're just in this transition phase at the moment with gold. It'll be interesting to watch. Silver, of course, very similar picture. We are bearish below the cloud. On both the medium and short-term charts, and the long-term chart is also just looking a little bit bearish, and not quite as bullish looking as gold. US Treasury yields down to 2.18%, but we are still bullish in the short term there, and we have got targets to 2.2, 2.25 as well. US Tech, we said Apple was really the one we needed to watch. Hasn't really broken above this high that we saw last week. That's what we need to see on Apple. But it is looking like it is bouncing there. Google looking stronger, coming back through the cloud on the price, as is Amazon, looking very strong there, and Facebook also looking quite strong, coming back as well, nearly at the $153 mark. And Microsoft also making a recovery. So tech looking stronger than it was a week ago, but we're not quite out of the woods yet. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.